Welcome to the Level 3 Conflict Management Instructor video. Today we're going to be going through all the elements involved for the theory part of the course, preparing you for the 30-minute conflict management micro-teach. So the micro-teach is all about creating scenarios to fit within your session plan. So a scenario in the context of learning is a simulated or planned storyline that replicates real-life situations or challenges. So you're going to be creating a scenario that reflects the real-life industry. So it serves a backdrop against which learners will apply their knowledge and skills to navigate or resolve issues presented by that scenario. So this immersive learning strategy enhances understanding by placing abstract concepts into concrete and relatable concepts. So we're going to be looking at the principles of scenario-based learning. So that is active learning and participation, chunking of learning blocks, promotion of problem solving, learning in a safe, controlled environment, which is crucially important, and that flexibility in adapting your scenarios. So first, let's look at active learning and participation. So active learning is at the heart of scenario-based learning. You're not just a passive recipient of information, but instead you actively engage with the material, make decisions, and see the consequences of those decisions unfold within that scenario. Participation is crucial as it will transform theoretical knowledge into practical skills through hands-on experience. Chunking of learning blocks is to enhance their understanding and retention. Scenario-based learning is often structured in chunks or small manageable blocks of information. So this method allows you to digest complex information in stages, gradually building up your knowledge and skills without really becoming overwhelmed. Promotion of problem solving. So through engaging with realistic scenarios, you'll be challenged to apply problem solving strategies to overcome typical conflicts. And this process not only tests your understanding of theoretical concepts, but also enhances your adaptability, creativity, and decision-making skills in unpredictable situations. Probably the most crucial thing is ensuring that learning is in a safe and controlled environment. So one of the greatest benefits of scenario-based learning is the opportunity to learn and make mistakes in a safe and controlled environment. So mistakes should be viewed as learning opportunities, allowing you to explore different outcomes and understand the impact of various actions without real-world repercussions. And lastly, flexibility in scenario application. So you need to understand when to start and when to stop those scenarios, whether on a group or individual basis, is vital. So that flexibility allows instructors to tailor that learning experience to the needs of those individual learners, providing support where needed, or advancing the complexity of scenarios to match the learners' growing competencies as they develop. So next, we're going to look at the benefits of scenario-based learning. So scenario-based learning offers a dynamic and immersive approach to education, and particularly in the fields that require practical application of skills, with conflict management being one. This method boosts several advantages that cater to those diverse learning needs and styles. So first, learner-centered approach is ensuring that scenario-based learning places learners at the center of that educational experience. So by actively engaging in scenarios that mimic real-world challenges, learners can apply theoretical knowledge in practical settings, facilitating deeper understanding and retention of information. This approach respects the individual's pace and learning style, allowing for a more personalized learning experience. What is crucial is that you cater to those various different learning styles. So it's particularly beneficial for visual and kinesthetic learners. Visual learners benefit from observing the scenario unfold, including visual cues such as body language and positioning, which are crucial in conflict management. Then you've got the kinesthetic learners who learn best by doing, so gaining that hands-on experience by actively participating in scenarios allows them to embody the learning physically. Encourages experimentation and peer learning. So one of the standout benefits of scenario-based learning is that safe environment provides for experimentation. So learners can try different approaches to solving conflicts just to see how the outcome of their decisions without real world repercussions. This sort of trial and error process is invaluable for deep learning. So moreover, working with or working through scenarios with peers enables learners to share perspectives, learn from each other's approaches, and collectively refine their problem solving strategies. It also helps to enhance observational skills. So scenarios offer a unique opportunity to assess and develop observational skills critical in conflict management, such as interpreting body language, tone, and positioning. So by engaging in role-playing simulations, learners become more attuned to non-verbal cues, and the unspoken dynamics in conflict situations enhance their ability to respond effectively. It also promotes critical thinking and decision making. So with these complex scenarios, it compels learners to apply critical thinking to navigate the challenges and make strategic decisions. So this process strengthens problem solving skills and fosters a mindset that's analytical, reflective, and creative, preparing learners for real life conflict resolution. It also helps to build confidence and reduces anxiety. So practicing in a simulated environment builds the learner's confidence in their abilities to manage those situations, and by repeatedly navigating through scenarios, learners become more comfortable with the process and strategies of conflict resolution, reducing any anxiety when faced with actual conflict situations. And lastly, it does give immediate feedback and reflection. So scenario-based learning allows that immediate feedback, and that's either from the instructor or through the natural consequence of the scenario. So this instant critique helps learners to understand the implications of their actions and encourages reflective practice, a critical component of continuous learning and improvement in conflict management skills. Designing session plans that effectively apply the principles of scenario-based learning requires a structured approach, catering to the diverse needs and experiences of the learners. So if you've done the AET, then you should be familiar with a structure of a session plan, which we will go through. So first, we have aims and objectives. So briefly describe the overall goal of the session. Then your objectives. List specific learning outcomes participants should achieve by the end of the session. So ensure that your objectives are SMART. Understanding a specific learning outcome is not really helpful because how do you measure it? It's all about measuring whether learners have made any sort of progress. Here is an example of your aims and objectives. So it could be identify different types of workplace conflicts, apply conflict resolution strategies in varied scenarios, and reflect on personal conflict management style and areas of improvement. So the verb is key. Identify, apply, and reflect. This is what you're expecting your learners to do. Then we have timings. So timings outline the duration of a session, and you need to allocate time for each activity, including introductions, scenarios, discussions, and feedback sessions. And this should be 30 minutes for the Level 3 award in delivering conflict management training. So an example of timing would be your total duration, which is 30 minutes. Your introduction could be 5 minutes. The scenario activity could be 15 minutes. And your group discussion can be 5 minutes. And then that will leave you with feedback and reflection for 5 minutes. Then you have learner and trainer activities. So detail what the learner will be doing at each stage of the session. So will they be participating in scenarios, group discussions, and at the same time the trainer will be doing something as well. So describe the trainer's role at each stage, such as facilitating that scenario, guiding those discussions, and providing feedback. So your learner activities can be to get your learners to engage in role-play scenarios depicting common workplace conflicts, participating in group discussions to analyze those scenarios, providing peer feedback based on observations. Now, at the same time, your trainer, their activities are going to be facilitating role-play scenarios, offering them guidance and support, leading those group discussions, encouraging critical thinking and reflection, and then providing constructive feedback to individuals and the group as a whole. Group demographics, so provide a brief overview of the learner's backgrounds, including past experience and learning needs. So this will help you to tailor the session to fit their specific requirements. So group demographics are normally mixed. So you can have mixed experiences, ranging from new recruits to those who have been in the industry for a while, so they're seasoned pros. Learning also needs to include understanding of those conflict dynamics, developing negotiation skills, enhancing emotional intelligence as well. Differentiation opportunities. So identify ways to adjust the session for learners to different skill levels and different learning styles, ensuring that all participants can engage meaningfully with the material. Then if we looked at the differentiation opportunities, so for less experienced learners, we might provide simpler scenarios focusing on common misunderstandings. And for those who are more experienced, we might offer more complex scenarios involving multiple stakeholders and ethical dilemmas. So utilize a variety of different learning materials, including visual aids for visual learners and hands-on activities for those kinesthetic learners. It's all about differentiation, adapting your scenarios to the individuals within your group. Feedback opportunities. So plan for individual and group-wide feedback sessions, allowing learners to reflect on their performance and understand the areas for improvement. So ensure you provide feedback opportunities. So give individual feedback sessions following each role play, focus on strengths and areas for improvement. A group-wide discussion about the learning points, share insights, encourage self-reflection by asking learners to maybe journal their thoughts on their conflict management styles and potential growth areas. You can also use like a feedback form as well, a self-assessment template for them to sort of jot down, where things went wrong, where things could improve, and it's all about that learning from their experiences. So when designing effective scenarios, the key is to provide a practical and immersive learning experience. So these scenarios will allow learners to navigate real-world challenges in a controlled environment. So this will enhance their problem-solving and decision-making skills. And we'll go through a sort of a guide for creating these scenarios with specific attention to inclusivity, safety, and learning outcomes. The first place to start is your description. So detail the scenario's context, including the setting. So this could be the pub entrance and a challenge to be addressed. So this could be handling a drunk customer or conducting searches before entry. What is the objective of the scenario? So clearly define what learners should accomplish, such as de-escalating a situation with an intoxicated customer or implementing a search policy respectfully and effectively. Look at your props and materials. So list any props you need to simulate that scenario realistically, such as your fake IDs, beverage containers to represent alcohol, or even metal detector wands for search procedures. Assign roles to participants, detailing the character they will portray, such as pub member staff, a drunk customer, or a customer being searched. Include the motivations and objectives of each character. What do they want to get out of that transaction? Design scenarios that are respectful and inclusive, avoiding reinforcement of stereotypes. Ensure your scenarios are adaptable to include participants of diverse backgrounds and abilities. Facilitate a discussion where participants can share their experiences and insights from that scenario. So learners need to reflect. Provide constructive feedback, focusing on those learning objectives and how participants manage those scenarios. Highlight the things needed well, highlight things that they can improve on, so those development points. Remember your praise sandwich here. Highlight key strategies for effectively managing similar situations in real life. So you need to link the scenarios to the real world. So these could include de-escalation techniques or legal considerations for searches. So always go back to your learning points. What are the objectives of your session? And lastly, offer an opportunity for participants to discuss how they felt during that scenario. Foster an environment of support and understanding. So the idea is empathy. So how do those learners feel during that scenario? Because again, their customers or the people they're dealing with during conflict, may feel similar emotions. So these are suggested scenarios to look at, and the emphasis of these are on the SIA conflict management courses. So first place to start is dealing with a drunk customer at a pub entrance. So the aim might be to safely manage a situation involving a customer who is visibly intoxicated and wishes to enter the pub. So the focus here is on communication, empathy, de-escalation techniques, and knowledge of those legal responsibilities. If we're looking to conduct searches before entry to a pub, then the aim is to conduct that respectful and effective search of those customers before they enter, ensuring the safety is carried out without compromising their dignity. So focus would be on communication, obtaining consent, understanding privacy laws, and managing potential scenarios. And for those who have worked in a nightclub or a pub environment, understands the frustration of last orders. People take a long time to finish their drinks, but you need to get them out because everyone wants to clean up and go home. So the aim of this scenario would be to respectfully and negotiate with your learners, or your customer in this situation would be to try and negotiate them to leave without the situation escalating into something more violent. So how do we come up with strategies thinking about win-wins? How do we get those people out of the venue? The design of session plans and scenarios, particularly in the context of scenario-based learning, will demand a careful consideration and strategic planning to ensure that they meet learning objectives effectively. So this justification for specific design choices might include the use of props, the alignment of scenarios with learning outcomes, and the structure of the learning experience will play a crucial role in enhancing the effectiveness of the learning process. So use of props. So props will help to enhance the realism of those scenarios, so making the simulated experience more immersive and relatable to those learners. So fake IDs, for example, using alcohol in this situation. Maybe you might be looking at search ones. And the idea of this is to help participants to better understand the context and challenges they might face in those real situations. And this also will support visual and kinesthetic learners, aiding that retention and application of knowledge. Each scenario should be carefully designed to align with specific learning outcomes, ensuring that participants acquire the necessary skills and knowledge to manage those real-life situations effectively. So for instance, scenarios involving conflict management at a pub will directly relate to learning outcomes such as de-escalate techniques, legal responsibilities, and effective communication. So aligning scenarios with learning outcomes ensure that all activities are purposeful and directly contribute to the learner's development. So this alignment facilitates targeted learning, where learners can clearly see the relevance of activities and are more likely to transfer their skills into that workplace. Breaking down the learning content into manageable chunks allows for easier processing and assimilation of information, reducing that cognitive overload. So this approach, combined with a logical progression from simpler to more complex scenarios, enables learners to build their confidence and competence gradually. So that structured progression and chunking enhance the learning experience by ensuring that learners are neither overwhelmed or bored. It allows the incremental development of skills and knowledge, fostering a sense of achievement and encouraging continuous engagement throughout the learning process. Feedback and debrief sessions are integral to the learning process, so provide learners with insights on the performance and areas for improvement. This individual and group feedback sessions encourage reflection, a critical component of adult learning, so allowing your learners to internalize their experiences and apply lessons learned to future situations. So regular feedback and debrief opportunities will reinforce learning outcomes, but also promote a growth mindset. So by discussing what went well and what didn't, and why learners can identify effective strategies and areas for development, enhances their problem-solving skills and adaptability. So the thoughtful design of session plan scenarios, including the use of props, aligning with learning outcomes, structured progressions, and any feedback mechanisms introduced, is fundamental to the success of any scenario-based learning. So these all work together, and it allows learners to apply their skills confidently and competently in real-world situations. So the aim of the qualification is everything you do will lead up towards your 30-minute session. And that's about you applying the principles of scenario-based learning, following those learning outcomes and engaging learners in line with their needs while using a range of learning methods, so different activities in an engaging manner. Maintaining a positive and safe learning environment is crucial for facilitating effective and interactive learning. Such as an environment not only supports the acquisition of knowledge and skills, but will also foster personal growth and confidence amongst learners. So first, you need to establish clear expectations and norms. And this is from the outset to help create a structured environment where learners know what is expected of them and what they can expect from others. This will include guidelines on respect, confidentiality, and participation. So begin your course or session by collaboratively establishing ground rules for your learners. And this could include how to listen respectfully, the importance of giving everyone a chance to speak, and encouraging an atmosphere of mutual respect. You need to foster that inclusive environment. A positive learning environment is one where learners feel comfortable expressing their ideas and their questions. So open communication fosters that dynamic and interactive learning experience. So use active listening techniques such as your nodding, your summarizing what's been said and asking open-ended questions. This will encourage participation by creating opportunities for all learners to contribute, such as through small group discussions or think, pair, share activities. Learners are more likely to engage and take risks in their learning if they feel supported and know that it's safe to make mistakes. A supportive atmosphere encourages learning from errors as part of that growth process. So celebrate efforts as well as achievements. So when mistakes occur, frame them as learning opportunities. Provide constructive feedback in a way that is specific, actionable, and focus on the task rather than the individual. Psychology safety is the belief that one will not be punished or humiliated for speaking up with ideas, questions, concerns, or mistakes. It's essential for interactive and experiential learning. So no question is a silly question. So actively work to prevent any form of judgment or negativity in a learning environment. Encourage questions and curiosity and address any signs of discomfort or bullying immediately. Make it clear that everyone's input is valuable and that learning is a collaborative journey. Collaborative learning techniques such as group projects or peer learning will encourage interaction amongst your learners. This helps to build a sense of community and shared purpose. So design activities that require learners to work together to solve problems or complete tasks. This not only helps them learn from each other, but also fosters relationships and a sense of belonging in the learning community. Continuous reflection on the learning environment allows for adjustments to be made in real time, ensuring that the needs of all learners are met and that the environment remains conducive to learning. So ensure that you regularly solicit feedback from learners about their learning experience, which can be done through informal check-ins, surveys, or feedback sessions. So use this feedback to make the necessary adjustments to your teaching methods, materials, and classroom dynamics. Facilitating interactive and participative learning that engages all learners effectively requires a multifaceted approach, emphasizing inclusivity, differentiation, and learner autonomy. So you need to tailor those learning experiences. So adapt your teaching methods to cater to diverse learning styles and abilities within that group. And that can provide materials or at varying levels of difficulty, or using a range of teaching methods such as your visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, and offering choices in how learners complete tasks or demonstrate understanding. Allow learners to set personal goals and choose from a variety of activities to achieve them. So this will support autonomy and ensure that learning is relevant to each individual's needs and interests. Design group activities that require input from all members, encouraging learners to share their knowledge and skills. So techniques like jigsaw activities where each learner becomes an expert in one aspect of the topic and then teaches it to their peers can actually be very effective. Within group activities, assign roles based on learner strengths and areas for improvement. So this ensures that everyone's involved contributes to that group success, but also challenging them to develop new skills. Encourage learners to take charge of their own learning by setting personal goals, seeking out resources, and reflecting on their progress. And this can be facilitated through the use of learning contracts, reflective journals, and digital portfolios. Implement formative assessments. So formative assessments is that ongoing feedback to learners about their progress, which can include quizzes, peer assessments, or just an informal check-in. How are you doing? How are you getting on? Feedback should be constructive and specific, offering clear guidance on how to improve. Encourage learners to assess their own work and reflect on their own progress. This helps them to develop critical thinking skills and to take responsibility for their own learning journey. Be attentive to factors that may inhibit participation, such as language barriers, lack of confidence, or personal circumstances. Offer support and adjustments as needed to ensure that all learners can fully engage. So by implementing these strategies, educators can facilitate a learning environment that's interactive, participative, and tailored to the needs of each learner. So this will enhance the engagement and learning outcomes, but it also empowers learners to take the ownership of their own educational journey and fostering that lifelong learning skill, which is crucial. Debriefing participants after learning activities, especially scenario-based exercises, is crucial in consolidating learning, enhancing reflection, ensuring that all group members derive maximum benefit from the experience. So effective debriefing strategies can transform these experiences into profound learning experiences. So provide feedback as soon as possible after the activity to ensure the experience is fresh in that person's mind. This immediate reflection helps to solidify learning and address misconceptions early. Tailor your feedback to the specific objectives of the scenario and activity, ensuring that it's constructive and focused on behaviors or decisions rather than those personal attributes. Determine when individual feedback is necessary for personal growth and when group feedback can promote collaborative learning. So individual feedback is particularly useful for addressing specific learning needs, while group feedback can highlight common strengths and areas for improvement, fostering a sense of unity learning. Avoid stopping scenarios or activities unnecessarily, as it can disrupt the learning process and diminish the realism of the experience. So just allow your experiences, allow those scenarios to play out to their natural conclusions unless there is a risk of harm or a significant teaching moment that just signifies the importance of interruption. Allow participants to navigate challenges without premature intervention. This will encourage a problem-solving and decision-making approach. So this experiential learning approach often leads to deeper understanding and retention of concepts. Use open-minded questions to encourage participants to reflect on their actions, decisions, and the outcomes of the scenario. So questions like, what led you to make that decision, or how do you think this approach affected the outcome, prompt deeper analysis and self-reflection. Instead of providing answers directly, ask questions that guide your learners to discover solutions on their own. So this method helps to develop those critical thinking skills and ensures that learning is active rather than passive. So for example, what could be an alternative approach to resolving conflict, or how might you apply what you've learned in a similar future scenario? Use your debrief sessions to facilitate discussions among participants. Allow them to share insights and learn from each other's perspectives. This can be achieved through questions that encourage comparison of different approaches and outcomes, such as how did your strategy differ from others and what can we learn from these differences. Ensure that every participant has an opportunity to speak and share their reflections. This inclusively reinforces the value of diverse perspectives and experiences in the learning process. This debrief process is a critical component of learning experience. It offers a platform for reflection, consolidation knowledge, and planning for future applications. By providing supportive feedback, allowing scenarios to unfold naturally, and using questions strategically, facilitators can maximize learning outcomes for both the individuals and the group as a whole. Evaluating the effectiveness of your own delivery is crucial for continuous improvement. It ensures that your teaching methods are meeting the needs for your learners, and this evaluation can be approached from multiple angles, ranging from direct observation during the learning process to various forms of post-learning feedback. Observe the learner's engagement levels throughout the session. High levels of participation, questions and discussions often indicate that material is engaging and that your delivery method is effective. Conversely, signs of disengagement such as lack of participation or attention may suggest areas for improvement in your delivery. Analyzing the results of quizzes, tests, or practical assessments can help to determine if learners have achieved the learning objectives. So consistently high performance across the group suggests effective delivery, whilst widespread difficulties in specific areas may indicate topics that need clearer explanation or more focus in future sessions. Informal discussions with learners can provide qualitative insights into their experiences. So these conversations can reveal perceptions of the session's relevance, the effectiveness of the teaching methods, and suggestions for improvement. Self-reflection is important. So you need to regularly reflect on your own performance, considering what went well or what could be improved. Think about how you interacted with the learners, the clarity of your explanations, and your ability to respond to their needs. And based on the evaluation, you identify specific areas for improvement in your delivery. So this could be including your teaching methods, so adjusting them, maybe incorporating more interactive elements, or seeking further training on specific topics. Setting clear actionable goals for improvement will help you to enhance the delivery of future sessions. So remember, you're never going to be that completed article, and it's all about when you deliver your sessions, where can you find improvements and improve for next time? And it's that continuous process that make great trainers. So evaluating the effectiveness of your delivery that combines self-reflection, observation, and feedback from learners. This will help your feedback to be open. Then you can continue to refine those skills to become a better teacher, which means you better meet the needs of your learners, increasing their learning experience. Evaluating the effectiveness of session plans is another crucial step in ensuring that your educational objectives are met and that learners are gaining the intended knowledge and skills. So this process involves a combination of direct observation and feedback mechanisms and reflective practice. Use formative assessment throughout to incorporate short quizzes, discussions, or practical tasks to gauge progress, to gauge your understanding and the application of the material in real time. So this will allow you to adjust the pace or the focus of the session. Solicit feedback directly after the session from your learners through discussion or even feedback forums. Ask specific questions about the clarity of content, the pace of the session, the relevance of the material of their needs. Keep track of the time allocated for each part of the session versus the actual time spent. Consistently going over or under the planned time for various segments can indicate areas for adjustment in content, depth, pacing, or activities. Pay attention to questions or topics that frequently arise but were not covered in the session plan. So these areas may represent gaps in the content or opportunities to deepen the learner's understanding. After each session, take the time to reflect on what worked well and what didn't. So consider how engaged the learner seemed and which parts of the session sparked the most interest, and where learners appeared to struggle. And again, set yourself goals, so specific areas for improvement. Evaluating the effectiveness of scenarios in a learning context is essential to ensure that you meet the intended education goals and provides that valuable learning experience. So scenarios are that powerful tool for engagement and learning, but their success depends on that planning, execution, and the evaluation. So observe how engaged learners are during the scenario. So look for signs of active participation, emotional investment, and focused attention. These will indicate a high level of engagement, suggesting the scenario is compelling and relevant. Assess whether the key learning points were understood and achieved by learners, and this can be done through debriefing sessions where learners will reflect on their actions, decisions, and outcomes. Evaluate the effectiveness or appropriateness of the materials or the props used in the scenario. So consider whether they add realism or immersion to that scenario, or if they were just simply distracting or unnecessary. So feedback from your learners can provide that valuable insights into how these elements contributed or distracted from that learning experience. Evaluate learners' ability to apply critical thinking and problem solving skills within that scenario. So successful navigation of the scenario, demonstrating thoughtful decision making and application of learned concepts indicates effectiveness. So consider how well learners adapt to unexpected developments within the scenario and their ability to adjust their strategies in response to new information or challenges, which is a key indicator of learning and flexibility. The debriefing session is crucial for consolidating, learning, and reflecting on the scenario experience. Evaluate the quality of learners' reflections and the insights they share. This can provide evidence of their understanding and the impact of the scenario on their learning. Ensure that you receive feedback from the learners about their learning experience within that scenario. Include what they found beneficial or what was challenging and suggestions for improvement. So you could use surveys, questionnaires to help you to gather that information on various aspects of that scenario. And there we have it. We've gone through the last unit of the level 3 delivering conflict management skills. So you should be able to put together a session plan with a scenario to help make your session realistic to the security industry.